Hello, welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Woleke TV. My name is JIBRIN, and this is my angle. Once again, Barrister Samantha is joining us. I think at this point, everyone, for those of you who are not joining us for the first time, you've been with us probably once or twice or more. You obviously know Barrister Samantha. At this point, I think I'll probably be referring him to as my co-host because he is just we host this show together. So he is well, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, Barrister Austin Manta is a very senior legal practitioner, public and current affairs analyst who is very, very good at what he does. Somebody who is a lawyer for over 40 years, obviously, and that is specifically what he does. Means obviously for someone like him, he will be extremely good at what he does. Barrister, thank you once again, as always, for availing us the privilege to have you on this show.
It's always my pleasure to be here.
All right. Let's just go straight to the point. Let's start with we have a lot of viewers. We have a lot of topics to talk about. So just hang on. Excuse me. Let's start from Burkina Faso. Barrister, we all know what happened in Burkina Faso and what is happening right now in that country. Is ruled by a military head of state. I think it's been there now for about 2 years or more. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, thereabout.
Three
And there's so
years.
many things are happening within these 2 years. This man took over he's a military head of state, and the country, Burkina Faso, is a very small country with minimal economic in comparison to Nigeria is obviously nothing, just like a drop in an ocean compared to Nigeria, a sort of when it comes to wealth and resources. But they are doing their best. The current head of state is. Let me read some of the achievements that he has garnered in the past 2 years or thereabout. So let me just go briefly through them. 2 years of President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, a report since assuming leadership of the nation. Number one, Burkina Faso's GDP rose from around 18.8 billion to 22.1 billion. This is incredible. Their GDP, gross domestic product, rose from 18.8 to 22.1 in 2 years. Second one is he declined loans from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank, stating Africa does not need the World Bank, IMF, Europe, or America. Wow, this is great. This is great. I wish that we other African countries, especially Nigeria, take after this country that is supposed to be far, far our junior, but they seem to be taking the leadership role in this area of IMF issue monetization. Number three, he cut the salaries of ministers and parliamentarians by 30% while raising civil servants' salaries by 50%. Barrister, we have a lot to talk here in comparison to what is happening in Nigeria. Number four, he cleared Burkina Faso's domestic debt. Wow. In 2 years, for God's sake. Then five, he established the country's first ever tomato processing plant. Six, in 2023, he launched a modern gold mine to strengthen local processing capacity. Seven, he halted the export of unrefined gold from Burkina Faso to Europe. He halted. This is something the establishment always fights against. Number eight, he constructed Burkina Faso's second cotton processing plant, adding to the single existing one. Wow. He inaugurated the National Support Center for artisanal cotton processing, the first of its kind to aid local cotton farmers. Number 10, he prohibited the use of British legal wigs and gowns in local courts, replacing them with traditional Burkina Faso attire. Barrister, this one na your own line. I would like your opinion on this. He prioritized Number 11, he prioritized agriculture by distributing over 400 tractors, 239 tillers, 710 motor pumps, and 714 motorcycles to enhance production and support rural communities. 12, there are so many. Oh my God. Okay, let me just finish it up. 12, he facilitated access to improved seeds and other agricultural inputs to maximize farming yields. 13, tomato production grew from 315,000 metric tons in 2022 to 360,000 metric tons in 2024. 14, millet production increased from 907,000 metric tons in 2022 to 1.1 million metric tons in 2024. 15, rice production rose from 280,000 metric tons in 2022 to 326,000 metric tons in 2024. 16, he banned French military operations in Burkina Faso. 17, he prohibited French media from operating in the country. 18, he expelled French troops from Burkina Faso. 19, his government is building new roads, expanding existing ones, and converting gravel roads into paved surfaces. Barrister, a lot to unpack here. Now, why I decided to take this is I want us to compare it to what is happening in Nigeria and compare the military rule that is going on now. Under this man did achieve all this under military rule. Could it have been possible for him to achieve if it were a democratic dispensation in that country? Could he have been able to achieve all these successes within just in 2 years if the system of government in Burkina Faso had been democratic system in comparison to what is happening in Nigeria? Barrister, what is your take on this? There are so many things to unpack on this.
Well, first of all, let me say that this is a case of an unusual leader who is patriotic, who is energetic, who is young, but who does not have the economic support base to catapult his country into a superpower. In contradistinction to a country like Nigeria that has everything, has an economic base, has the labor market, has the mineral, has everything, but do not have a worthy leader to catapult the country into a powerful country. So the contrast is very sharp. We are busy here in Nigeria. We have everything. All we need is a competent, patriotic, energetic, resourceful leader. They don't have what we have in terms of economic base, but they are blessed today with a leader who is forward-looking, who is resourceful, who is able to use the little available resources to advance his country's interests. And for a long time, we have known what is needed to be done in third world countries like Nigeria to take us out of the quagmire that we are. We know, and a lot of people know. I have, on this your show, I have said before, why don't we go by the Chinese model? The China in 1960 had the same situation we are. Not long ago, not just like Nigeria, they realized that these foreign countries, particularly the Western countries, are no good for us. When they are coming to your country, better sleep with one eye open. Before you know it, they have dominated your economy. They are exploiting you in the worst possible manner, and you are virtually powerless. So what the Chinese did was to close their economy, look inwards, stop foreign aid, expel all these people. You eat what you produce in China. You use what you produce, whether it was of high quality or not. You use it. That was how China started. And at the same time, they made sure that they enabled a situation where they were able to steal technology throughout the world. and bring it to China to improve the quality of their goods and services. And within 2 decades, you can see where China is today. The second largest economy apart from US, and in some indices, the largest economy in the world. We see these templates. Any country, third world country like Nigeria, if we want to develop, we have to do away with these foreign loans, the IMF, the World Bank, and their prescriptions, because they have nothing to offer our economy other than laying our economy bare for exploitation by the Western countries. Coming to the type of government, of course, I in total agreement with you that if it was the kind of democracy that is being imposed on African countries, like the one we have in Nigeria, that leader, Traoré, will not be able to move forward as he has done. He will not even do half or 1/4 of what he has done because of the kind of politics that we play here. The fake and fraudulent democracy that we impose or has been imposed on us. Like in Nigeria now, there is a need for a strong leader. You can call it a dictator. I would not mind if he is patriotic and going in the right direction, because this so-called democracy is not going in the right direction. We have practiced it for 26 years today. It's not going on the right, it's going backwards, it's going left. The country is being torn apart, whether in terms of interrelationships, whether in terms of nationalism, whether in terms of progress. There's no positive thing you can talk about Nigeria. Today, Nigeria is more disunited, more divided than back in 1999. The economy is comatose. The politics is completely ruinous and bad. So what is actually the benefit of this so-called democracy? We are just appeasing the West. They are saying, oh, you are carrying out democracy, because they know it is benefiting them. They know with this situation they can penetrate, they can do what they want, they can advise our government through IMF and World Bank, do this policy, knowing very well that the policies are counterproductive to our economy and to our progress. So I salute the young man in Burkina Faso, and not only him, the Mali and Niger, they are trying to have a union, by the way, of the 3 Sahel countries.
Yes,
Mali, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And you can see the progress that is being achieved in the 3 countries. Just contrast it with what is happening in Nigeria. Today, Nigeria's economy is not in our hands. Only yesterday, I went for a meeting where I discovered that the largest mining company in Nigeria is owned by a Chinese person.
Yes, I've always known that.
A Chinese company, the Chinese manager instructed his guys to shoot a Nigerian immigration officer that came to the company, and they shot him.
Wow.
In Nigeria, the guy shot the immigration officer in the company when he wanted to enter the company. That is the level that we have surrendered our sovereignty, we have surrendered our economy to foreign powers. It's about time something like what happened in Niger, like what happened in Mali, like what happened in Burkina Faso, happened in Nigeria. Otherwise, I keep saying we do not have any hope. I, for one, do not have any hope in this country anymore.
Well, thank you so very much, Barry. Honestly, you have brilliantly put you've just nailed it. Honestly, you've just said it all. However, let me just chip in this before we round up this topic. You see, this is like this number 3 item here. He cut salaries. This is exactly the opposite of what Nigeria did and what Nigeria is doing. He cut the salaries of ministers, that is the politicians, because their salary elected and both in this case not elected, government appointed officials. He cut their salaries by 30% and increased civil servant salaries by 50%, giving priority to the right source, taking priority to the right people. So this is how else can you And well, for God's sake, this is a military head of state. This is one of the reasons why I've always been a proponent, an opponent, of democracy. Because I don't believe that democracy is not only too expensive for Nigeria, but it is an impediment to the growth of Nigeria. Because this is exactly what I mean by when you have a purposeful military leader. He will be, when we say purposeful military leader, just like this Traoré, who is very patriotic, who is not ostentatious, who does not have the belief of ostentatious lifestyle, that would spur him into amassing wealth for himself and his cronies. If you have a leader like this in Nigeria as a military head of state or whatever head of state, but accept democracy cannot work for. Anyway, we'll have a topic on that coming up on this episode. So the reality is, honestly, the earlier Nigeria copies from these smaller nations, the better for us. Just like you mentioned, these three nations who have decided to take the bull by the horn, take their destinies in their hands, and expel foreign powers. I don't even refer to them as foreign power. I refer to them as foreign parasites. Parasites that are milking African nations, fleecing African nations. Unless and except we take the bull by the horn like these three nations, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. And the fortunate aspect of this is these three nations are doing very well. Very well. All the three of them, their economies are growing better than what it was earlier. Better than when the Europeans were in their countries. Today they have expelled the Europeans, and they are doing much better. They have do you know what it means for someone to actually do, an African nation to do without IMF, to do without European Union, to do without what other union or whatever, all those Western issues, Western parasites. Nigeria, we need to copy nations like this. They are junior nations. They are far lower than us in all facets. Yet they are the ones leading. Yeah? They are the ones leading the continent in taking the right steps and taking the bull by the horn. What a especially this Burkina Faso, very tiny country. Yet this man is so courageous, and that's why they want to take him. They've tried by all means to take him out through military coup. And that is why probably is one of the most guided head of states in the world or whatever, because that man is really, because he has faced serious threat. So I don't blame him for being protective of himself, because if anything happens to him, obviously all these good things will just go down the drain.
He has so far escaped over 3 assassination attempts, 3 coup attempts. And talking of increase in salary, can you just imagine in the present situation in Nigeria, anybody for that matter, I know the president cannot even have that idea, to bring an idea that the salaries of the political
That's what I say. What we're doing in Nigeria is opposite of what Burkina Faso is doing.
Ministers, House of Reps members, governors, all political appointees should be cut into half, and the salary of civil servants you will be crucified here.
Honestly.
You will not even have a way to go ahead with it, because they will block you at every point.
Yeah, that is the point.
They will tell you that the economy cannot sustain such an increase. But the economy is able to sustain 1,000% increase in
their lavish lifestyle
allowances of political appointees in Nigeria. How is it, and I have always questioned, how is it that a civil servant who has served the country, we are all serving the country, whether you are a farmer, whether you are a trader, whether you are driving something on the road, you are still in the service of the country, and it's still nation building, it's still contribution to the economy. Why would somebody who, for the single fact that he is elected into the Senate, take something 500 times more than a palm sec that worked for 30-something years?
Honestly.
Than a director that worked for 30 years. You just entered the Senate or the House of Representatives today, and you are taking something 500 times more than that person. This is a manifest injustice, and it's not right. And that is why the do or die mentality of the average Nigerian politician is there. Because election into office is passport to wealth in Nigeria, passport to riches. So there's no other national interest than to accumulate, to go there and become a rich man, a powerful man. That is the overriding concern of our politicians.
That is it, honestly. It's so unfortunate, it's so sad. Honestly, we need to, and we have to copy what these nations are doing. Nigeria, honestly, we need to return to military rule. At least that is the better option we have for now.